Hi, I'm Alissa Peterson, and I'm an Associate Clinical Professor of Psychiatry at UCSF, based at San Francisco General Hospital. We hear a lot about surges these days in relation to COVID-19, but the word surge can be applied not only to the number of COVID cases in our community or in our hospitals, but also to our own personal stress levels. We are all experiencing a surge in stress these days. So today, I'm going to help you come up with your own personal surge plan for making it through the days and months of this pandemic. Instead of a surge plan, you could also call this a wellness or a coping plan. And this is something you can add to and alter over time based on how you're doing and how it's working for you. You're going to need a piece of blank paper and some sort of writing utensil like a pencil or a pen. And feel free to pause this video at any time as we go through this so you have enough time to complete all the tasks. I want you to take your piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half like this and then in quarters like this. So when you open it up, you'll have 4 squares. I'm going to share some slides now to help guide us through. So in the upper right-hand box, I want you to write my personal stress response as a header. This is where you're going to list what happens to your body, your mind, etc. when you get stressed. And this can look different for different people. Let me give you a few examples. So for some people, they might eat too much or they might eat too little. Others may have really tense muscles or experience physical pain of some sort. For some people, they get really tired. You could sleep too much, you could sleep too little. And for some of us, we feel incredibly irritable or just jumpy, edgy when we get stressed. Think about yourself and what happens to you, and take some time and list out a few of your stress responses. Okay, in the next box, in the upper left-hand corner, I want you to write my stress danger zone as the header. This is where you're going to list what happens to you when you've really hit your limit. You're over the edge in terms of stress, and you may react in ways that are uncharacteristic or feel just really bad. Let me give you a few examples. So some of us may lose emotional control, like get incredibly angry or start crying all of a sudden. You might feel short of breath, like you can't get enough air. You might have difficulty focusing at work or at home. Some of us won't sleep well for many nights in a row. And for some, you may start yelling at kids, partners, friends in ways that are really atypical for you. And finally, increase in alcohol, cigarettes, and other substances are really common reactions to a stress danger zone. Think about what happens to you and take a moment to write down some ideas. Now for the fun part. So in the bottom right-hand corner, I want you to write coping skills I've used in the past, or you could write my coping skills. This is where you're going to list how you manage stress, how you cope with it. And ideally we'll list healthy coping skills here and things that have worked for us. Sometimes these are hard to think about and hard to come up with. We all have them, we just have to dig a little deep. And sometimes these are things that we wish we'd use more of, but we forget. So for example, you might call family or friends. You might take deep breaths, any number of deep breaths from 1 to 5, whatever works for you. Some people listen to music or sing. Others meditate. Sitting in the sun could be a coping skill, or any sort of gratitude practice is a really common coping skill. Think about what works for you. And now we're at the last part of our surge plan. So in the bottom left-hand corner, and you'll see an example here on the slide, I want you to write new skills to add. So you've listed your personal stress response, you've listed what happens when you're in your danger zone, you've listed coping skills that you use or wish you used a little more of. There's always new skills we can develop and add. Many are listed on this website, so think about things that you've watched in some of the videos on this website or things that you've been reading. Think about what your family or friends do when they're under stress, and maybe there's some coping skills that they've used that you'd like to try out. Make a really extensive list here and be as detailed as possible. Take your time with this one, because this is the most important box at this point. And now that you've finished your new skill list, let's pick just one skill to commit to trying this week. I'm going to try meditation, and I'm going to be really specific about this. I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes on Wednesday in the morning, just Wednesday. That's all I can commit to this week. I can't commit to more than one day. And we'll see how it goes. If I like it, maybe I'll up it to 2 times next week. If I don't like it, maybe I'll adapt, or maybe I'll try it again. I want to see how this affects my body and my stress response. And then I can choose whether I want to add it to my repertoire or not. Now that you have your own personal coping plan, I want you to feel free again to adapt or to change this as time goes on and circumstances change. You can also make it colorful. You can put it on your fridge. You can carry it in your pocket, whatever is most helpful for you. I'd like you to stay in touch with your body and try to recognize when you start to become stressed so you can use some of these coping skills before you hit your danger zone. That's really the ideal place for us to be. Not always possible, and sometimes we're going to hit our danger zones, and then we just have to use the coping skills there. Things can feel really impossible and overwhelming right now, and we all have the tools that we've used in the past to make it through these dark times. We also all have the capacity to come up with new tools. I hope this was helpful for you today. Be well. Thanks for participating.